Hi everyone, welcome to E-Content Development Center, Majalis Arts and Science College. I am Rechita, Assistant Professor, PG Department of English. Today, I introduce you a short story from 4th Sem English Common Course, Spectrum. The story is Love Across the Salt Desert, written by the famous writer K.N. Daruvala. After watching this video, the learner will be able to get the structure of a short story. Before going to the story, let's know about the author. K.N. Daruvala. His full name is K.E. Nasarwanchi Daruvala. He is a highly regarded Indian poet, short story writer and novelist in English. He was born in Lahore to a Parsi family in 1937. Before the partition of India, his family left undivided India in 1945 and moved to Junagadh and then to Rampur in India. As a result, he grew up studying in various schools and in various languages. He obtained his master's degree in English literature from Government College, Ludhiana, University of Punjab. He is also a former Indian Police Service officer. He joined the police service in 1958. He has written 12 books and his first novel, For Pepper and Cries, was published in 2009. His first book of poetry was Under Orient, which was published by Writers Workshop India in 1970. He then went on to publish his second collection, Apparition, in April 1971, for which he was given the Uttar Pradesh State Award in 1972. His poems appeared in many poetry anthologies such as Anthology of Contemporary Indian Poetry. Some of his famous works are Crossing Rivers in 1976, Winter Poems in 1980, The Keeper of the Dead Landscapes in 1987 and A Summer of Tigers in 1995. He got many awards. He won the Sahitya Akademi Award given by the Sahitya Akademi, India's National Academy of Letters, in 1984 and returned the same award in October 2015 in protest and with a statement that the organization Sahitya Akademi has failed to speak out against ideological collectives that have used physical violence against others. Daruvala did not take back his award even after Sahitya Akademi passed a resolution condemning the attacks on rational thinkers. He received the Commonwealth Poetry Prize for Asia in 1987 and Padma Shri, the fourth highest civilian honor in India, in 2014, and he received Commonwealth Poetry for his collection of poems, Landscape, in the year 1987. Famous Indian Jewish poet Nizam Ezekiel comments Daruvala has the energy of the lion. The present short story, Love Across the Salt Desert, was first published in 1979 in a collection called Sword and Abyss. In this story, K.N. Daruvala narrates the adventurous journey that a man undertakes for his beloved. Najib, the man in the story, defies his father and the international border between India and Pakistan and fight adverse conditions in the Salt Desert to be with Fatima, who he was deeply in love with. The Hindi film Refugee in 2000, directed by J.P. Datta, is said to be inspired by this short story. Let's have a look into the main characters in the story. First one is Najib. Najib is the hero in this story. He is a handsome and dynamic young man. Next one is Fatima. She is the heroine in this love story. She is the only daughter of the wily old clothes seller and smuggler of Sindh, Khalisha. Galesha is another character in the story. He is the father of Fatima. He is the old clothes seller and smuggler of Sindh. Aftab, he is another character in this story. He is the father of Najib. Next one is Allah Rakha, the camel of Najib. Next one is Zaman, the cross-border trafficker and Indus Ranger's strict vigilance. And the last one is Mahfouz Ali, a far-off relative from Fatima's mother's side. A proposer she abhors as Mahfouz Ali is notorious for his slurred speech and stammer, so much so that urchins mimic him and get ready to hound him like a madcap. Let's move to the story in detail. Love Across the Salt Desert is a beautiful love story based on the theme that true love transcends all barriers like religion, region, caste, color, creed, and country. It depicts union between two lovers despite their hailing from two opposite sides of the international border between India and Pakistan, two hostile countries. There may be many obstacles and problems in the way of true lovers, but their love wins the day after all. The story is set in the Rhine of Kutch, a vast, lonely desert which is very impossible to cross. As you know that it is situated in the border between India and Pakistan. It had been drought for 3 consecutive years in Kutch and there were no signs of rain. Cattle had started dying with only camels able to survive. The droughts ended 2 years ago, but people still remember it because that was the day Fatima entered the village. Fatima was a daughter of a spice seller across the border and Najib Hussain would do anything for her. Najib, an Indian, falls in love at first sight with a beautiful Pakistani girl named Fatima. He was known for his rebellious attitude and had already crossed the land 4 times before, a man of 20. He had accompanied his father or an old smuggler each time he crossed the border. They sold tender leaves across the border for a higher price. During one of those journeys, they had stayed with Khalisha, the spice seller. While Khalisha turned out to be a rock, his daughter Fatima was very attractive and she liked Najib, a young man who was always in pleasant mood. Fatima was under pressure to get married to someone in the village who is not liked by many people. Najib promised to return for Fatima. Soon after reaching back in the village, Najib began getting impatient and decided to cross the border. In the early part of the story, Najib is a very shy, introvert and reserved boy. He was known to have blushed at the mere mention of a girl. He had dreamy eyes. None of his friends had ranked him among the braves. Even his father, after feared the boy would waste away all that he had and his ancestors had acquired. He considered him too shy to be able to charge money. What would he sell? But all these predictions proved wrong in the later part of the story. Najib turned to be courageous, brave and determined hero for a romantic movie after his first meet with Fatima, who ignited a spark of love in him. The hero returns home with his father, then informs his mother of his love and that he will be going to bring home his bride. As do standard Indian movie mothers, she wants her son to be happy, but her concern of his safety, and finally she courageously sends off her son with some food and jewels. He undertook a dangerous journey, crossed the border and met his love. He did not care for bullets and difficulties. He faced all the hardships he met during the trip with a smiling face. He was true, sincere and faithful in his love. He had understood what love really means. He felt his love and saw the image of Fatima in every object he touched, imagined and articulated. Najib braves the border forces in style. The Rhine of Kutch is a vast, lonely desert, almost impossible to cross. Yet some people do cross it for reasons of their own. But Najib Hussain wanted to be with someone he loved and he already reached his destination, mentally uniting him with who-eyed Fatima, the spice seller's daughter, long before he could meet her physically, overcoming every fatal impediment through the salt desert. In the recent past, Najib had the opportunity to meet Fatima for the first time while traveling with his father. Fatima's fascinating eyes did not take seconds at the very first sight to convince Najib of the most important discovery, that he would no longer be called an introvert, who, with his dreamy eyes, went out for his love, Fatima. To reach Pakistan, Najib crossed the border and met Fatima there. While it was not that easy for Najib to fight shy of Zaman, the cross-border trafficker and Indus Ranger's strict vigilance. Najib did it with all the strength of mind. His life was in stake, but he did not bother. The storm of sand could not keep him from being flooded with exuberant love feelings. Najib was inspired by a sense of success as he saw that, according to the religious custom, the food offered by him to the Panchami pyre on the hilltop happened to have been eaten up by the jackals. Najib was blessed and set off on his journey. He firmly believed that the lamp lighted in honor of the pair every night on the hilltop would illuminate his home. The ignorance of Najib about the unfair means of crossing the border with Pakistan was a major mistake that might take his life. Najib waited for the night to cover his identity and then hobbled at the door of the glove seller across a mile's distance on his toe. Fatima heard the soft call and her glittering eyes spoke wordlessly of her uplifted heart as she opened the door silently and found Najib standing outside. She let him in. In the morning, a constable came to Khalesha's house and told him that there was a smuggler in his house. But Khalesha had no knowledge of it. His daughter Fatima told him that there was a Gus in the cowshed. Khalesha surprised to see that Najib had come without any Chandu leave. Najib, however, told him that he had come for clothes and would pay in gold. He gave his gold bangles to Khalesha, which mother had given him. Khalesha soon got busy arranging the clothes and also taking care of Najib's camel. In the night, when Najib slipped into Fatima's room and asked her if she had ever thought of crossing the border, taking her silence for a yes. He did not waste time setting for his return trip to Kutch, but he wasn't alone this time. Fatima had a deep love in her heart. She was offered by Najib to experience a maiden test drive across the run on Allah Rakha. Her silent approval of such an offer reciprocated the indomitable, free-flowing thirst of Najib. They knew quite well that they could not be held back by any geographical border. They reached Khauda carrying the blissful love among the raindrops that came down after 3 years of drought to quench the thirst of the land. Thus, the success of love across the salt desert was proven by Najib and Fatima. The village hails the girl as the savior. Thus, the story clearly shows that true love does not yield to any pressure and it is above everything. This story also presents the gory truth of the developments in no man's land near international borders. The message conveyed through the story is that there are enemies of nations who do illegal trade and trespass the borders while smuggling toxins, banned drugs, tranquilizers and false currency, thus indulging in destroying the innocent lives of people. At last, we can conclude the story with a proverb, only the brave deserve the fight. Hope you all enjoyed the video. Thank you.